Chapter 171, The Most Promising Newcomer Award. Professor McGonagall is moved to tears. In the distance, some young witches and wizards gasped in astonishment. Transfiguration Today is a highly prestigious magazine dedicated to the study of transfiguration. Both Professor Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall are devoted readers of it. That alone speaks volumes about its importance. Back in their youth, both professors had published papers in Transfiguration Today. Each of them had also won the magazine's Most Promising Newcomer Award. It had been years since anyone had managed to claim that honor. During their student days, only a handful of witches and wizards possessed the skill to write articles worthy of publication in that magazine. "Oh, Xiaji, you're absolutely incredible," Hermione exclaimed in genuine admiration. Harry and Ron, however, looked utterly bewildered. "Can someone tell us what Transfiguration Today is? And what exactly is this Most Promising Newcomer Award?" Neville Longbottom quietly explained to them. His grandmother was also a regular reader of the magazine. Cedric hurried over, visibly excited. He excelled at Transfiguration as well, and was a member of Professor McGonagall's Transfiguration Club. He fully understood just how significant Transfiguration Today was. He'd even submitted articles to it himself. "How did you manage this, Xiaji?" "I've sent papers to them too, but every single one was rejected," Cedric said, brimming with envy. I bet you never asked Professor McGonagall to review them for you, right?" Xiaji replied with a slightly sheepish smile. Of course. How could I have forgotten? Professor McGonagall frequently edits papers for Transfiguration Today now, Cedric exclaimed in realization. Everyone turned in astonishment toward Xiaji, who calmly continued sipping his porridge. He had effortlessly achieved an honor once earned only by Professor McGonagall and Professor Dumbledore. Did this mean Xiaji would eventually become a wizard just as remarkable as those two? At that moment, Professor McGonagall approached, her face glowing with joy. "Congratulations on winning the Most Promising Newcomer Award, Xiaji. Here's your prize money. It's not much, but it's an extraordinary honor. I'm so proud of you." Xiaji smiled as he accepted the pouch of gold coins. Upon touching it, he immediately sensed its contents, roughly 50 galleons. "I'm your student, Professor McGonagall. All my abilities stem from your teachings." Though she knew that wasn't quite true, Professor McGonagall still felt deeply gratified. The winner of that prestigious award was her own student. In the classroom seating area, Professor Dumbledore appeared at breakfast in the Great Hall, an unusual sight indeed. His face beamed with delight as he clapped his hands in delight. Seeing Dumbledore applaud, the other professors followed suit, showering Xiaji with applause as well. Even Snape, though his expression remained grim, reluctantly raised his hand and tapped it twice. Lockhart's face stiffened. He'd gone to great lengths that morning, yet now all eyes were on Xiaji, not him. Envy blazed in Lockhart's gaze as he watched Xiaji. "Given that Xiaji has brought such honor to Hogwarts, I believe Gryffindor deserves extra points," Dumbledore declared. "Yee!" The Gryffindor table erupted in cheers. Though many still had no idea what Transfiguration Today was or the significance of that award, they understood clearly that Xiaji had earned points for their house. George and Fred even dashed over, lighting 2 whizzing snitch fireworks. 2 massive lions materialized on the ceiling, roaring triumphantly. Professor McGonagall clapped tearfully, making no effort to punish George and Fred for their antics. Truthfully, seeing everyone so excited left Xiaji feeling rather awkward and uncertain. He simply rose to his feet, bowed to the crowd, and thanked them for their congratulations. Throughout the rest of the day, Xiaji felt strangely out of place. Wherever he went, he drew looks of deep reverence. Harry and the others experienced the same shift. Once they grasped just how prestigious the Most Promising Newcomer Award was, their eyes towards Xiaji changed completely. Even the ghosts paused mid-glide whenever they passed by Xiaji, greeting him respectfully. The girls' gazes were even more unmistakable. Had Cassandra Vole and Hermione not stood by his side, Xiaji might have felt as though he'd be devoured whole. Still, being respected felt undeniably pleasant, far better than being feared by everyone else. Nightfall brought with it the sweet scent of roasted pumpkin drifting from the Great Hall. Yet Xiaji and his friends didn't head there for dinner. They were off to attend the Ghost's commemoration feast. Nick had tried earlier to invite Harry and Xiaji's other friends, but Filch had interrupted him. This time, only Xiaji, Cassandra, and Harry would attend Nick's 500th anniversary celebration. Before leaving, though, Xiaji led them to the kitchens. It was the first time Cassandra and Harry had ever visited Hogwarts kitchens. Upon seeing the hundreds of house elves working there, Harry stood utterly stunned. He'd only ever met Dobby before. "Oh, esteemed Mr. Xiaji, how may we assist you and your friends?" An elderly house elf approached. "Oh, Gookie, hello. We'd like some food, as we won't be attending the school feast tonight. We're going to Nick's commemoration feast. Being alive, we can't eat what ghosts consume." I see. They took quite a lot of nearly spoiled food from us just recently. Mr. Xiaji and his friends certainly shouldn't eat anything moldy." Gookie snapped his fingers, and several house elves promptly brought over trays overflowing with food. "Is this enough? If not, we can prepare more." "It's plenty. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to trouble you. Next time, I'll teach you all a few new recipes as thanks. Farewell, Gookie." Xiaji swiftly stored the food into his ring, where it remained perfectly preserved and warm. "Oh, Mr. Xiaji is always so courteous, even apologizing to us. Gookie truly feels so touched. No gentleman has ever treated us so kindly." Surrounded by hundreds of house elves bidding them farewell, the trio left the kitchens. "Wow. Xiaji, you're incredibly popular with the house elves," Harry remarked, still a bit dazed from all those adoring gazes. "So, why did we need to get food?" Cassandra asked skeptically. "Well, ghosts can't eat, so they can only savor scents. That's why we needed food with a strong aroma." "So, are you saying the Ghost's commemoration feast will be filled with rotten, foul-smelling food?" Cassandra's face paled slightly. I've got a little spell called Scent Retention Charm. It can— Ow! Please stop pinching me. I surrender." Chapter 172. The Person Peeves Fears Most. Xiaji. Harry really wanted to laugh, but he struggled to hold it back. After all, in his eyes, Xiaji was a fearsome dark lord. He absolutely couldn't let him notice that he was chuckling secretly. Harry promptly looked up at the ceiling, pretending he hadn't seen Xiaji getting flustered at all. Xiaji rubbed the soft flesh around his waist, sighing repeatedly. "Oh, flesh and blood. Why is it always you that gets hurt?" "Oh, Harry, you laughed just now, didn't you?" Xiaji said with a grin. "Nope, not at all. I thought I saw a spider on the ceiling just now. Don't try to fool me. I saw it clearly. Your mouth curved upward by 25 degrees. I'm joining the Harry Potter fan club later. They've invited me several times now." No way. The venue Nick had arranged for the party was a large classroom located deep underground in the castle. Even before they got close, the three of them felt the temperature drop sharply. Ghosts gathering in one place actually affected the surrounding temperature? Why was that? Xiaji excitedly took note of this phenomenon. The trio walked down a dimly lit corridor lined with countless tiny black candles. Their faint blue glow cast an eerie atmosphere, perfectly fitting the setting. Cassandra instinctively drew closer to Xiaji, clutching his arm tightly. Judging by how hard she gripped him, she was quite frightened at the moment. Around a corner, they heard what sounded like music. Well, if one could even call that cacophony, a sound akin to 1,000 nails scraping against a blackboard. Music. Nick stood at the entrance, draped in a black velvet curtain. However, he wasn't wearing his head on his neck. Instead, he cradled it in both hands, seemingly showing off the fact that his head had completely detached. "My dear friends, welcome. I'm absolutely thrilled you could all come," Nick spoke, his head still cradled in his hands. Admittedly, the scene was rather bizarre. Nick then removed his feathered hat, bowed, and invited them inside. Once Xiaji and the others entered the classroom, they witnessed something unforgettable. The underground room teemed with hundreds of milky white, translucent ghosts. Most of them danced the waltz in the crowded hall, all to that horrid music. Xiaji exhaled softly. His breath instantly formed mist before him. It felt like stepping into a freezer. "Let's explore around a bit," Xiaji suggested enthusiastically. "Let's just take a quick look and leave. It's freezing," Cassandra replied, her nose already turning red from the cold. Having anticipated this, she kept a safe distance from the piles of rotting food nearby, not daring to approach. "Very well." Xiaji then cast his wand in a quiet corner of the room, drawing a circle in the air. Upon stepping inside, Cassandra and Harry immediately felt the warmth within. "Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Afterward, we'll leave," Xiaji said. He then conjured 2 chairs and a small table inside the circle. He placed the food he'd fetched from the kitchens onto the table and walked away. He mingled freely among the ghosts, chatting and laughing with them, occasionally scribbling notes in his notebook. At that moment, Nick floated over. "So, are you all having fun?" "To be precise, I'm thoroughly enjoying my conversations with them," Xiaji replied. "Oh, and how about Harry and the others?" "They're finding it a bit chilly, so they're resting over there," Xiaji answered casually. "Ah, of course. Living folks naturally struggle to adjust to gatherings of the dead. That's why I'm so grateful you all came." Whoosh, a short, tiny ghost emerged from beneath the table piled with food. Unlike other pale ghosts, this one wore a red party hat. Upon surfacing, he locked eyes with Xiaji. "It's you." Peeves bore a grudge against Xiaji. Previously, Xiaji had magically deflected one of Peeves' stung bombs back at him. Peeves glanced at the food on the table, then smirked wickedly. He grabbed 2 pies stuffed with maggots. "Care for some?" Xiaji instantly grasped his intent. Clearly, Peeves wanted to see him covered head to toe in worms. "Oh, no thanks. I'm quite all right," Xiaji replied. Peeves prepared to hurl both pies at him. Snap! Xiaji flicked his fingers. A purple rope materialized from thin air, swiftly binding Peeves into a tight bundle. Peeves struggled desperately, but to no avail. This purple rope, woven from raw magical energy, was an advanced application of soul magic. To date, no soul, not even Voldemort's fragmented essence, had ever escaped its grasp. Peeves, unafraid of any spells, had long acted recklessly at Hogwarts. Aside from Barnabas the Bloodboil, he feared no one or no ghost. Now, however, it seemed that List had just gained another name. Xiaji hung Peeves upside down before him, then poked him curiously. Unlike most ghosts, you occasionally possess a physical form capable of interacting with objects. Yet at times, you lack form entirely, able to phase through walls just like any other ghost." Xiaji stroked his smooth chin, studying Peeves intently. "Let me go, or else." "Or else what?" Hee. Xiaji let out a villainous chuckle. You can't harm me anyway." "Exactly, that's what intrigues me." "Peeves, how about you assist me in conducting an experiment? I'd love to learn precisely how to harm you." Peeves suddenly felt an icy chill upon meeting Xiaji's gaze. Had Harry been present, he'd have agreed. At times, Xiaji radiated an aura eerily similar to that of a true Dark Lord. "Please release me. I'll do anything you ask." Peeves swiftly abandoned his defiance, now groveling abjectly. "Oh, truly?" Xiaji reached out, gently touching Peeves' red hat. Instantly, Peeves sensed an unimaginably terrifying force swirling through his very being. Paralyzed, Peeves realized this power could annihilate him in an instant. Gulp. Peeves swallowed hard, gazing at Xiaji pleadingly, hoping for mercy. "Very well. You may go. But should I ever need you again, you'll appear before me at once," Xiaji said warmly. "And don't fret, I'll know precisely where to find you." "Absolutely. As you wish, my lord." Peeves bowed obsequiously, then frantically darted into the ceiling, vanishing from sight. Chapter 173. Cassandra Vole. "Can I stay at your place tonight?" Nick gazed wistfully at Peeves as the poltergeist drifted away. Apart from Bloody Baron, I've never seen Peeves fear anyone. You're the first. I merely wanted to invite him to participate in some research experiments. It's not like I intended to harm him. Is that really so terrifying? Xiaoji replied dejectedly. Perhaps it's because your expression just now did seem a bit ghost-intimidating? I thought my smile came across as quite cheerful, though. You call that cheerful? Nick waved his hand dismissively. All right, tonight's turnout was fairly satisfactory. Even the Weeping Widow traveled all the way from Kent to attend. We'll discuss this later. My speaking time is almost up. Just then, the orchestra abruptly ceased playing, and a trumpet blared. Ha! They've finally arrived. This time, I'll see whether they've any excuse to reject my entry. Nick exclaimed excitedly. After giving Xiaoji a quick apology, he hurried off. Xiaoji figured the evening had run its course and intended to return to Cassandra and the others. Suddenly, he sensed he was being watched. A chilling sensation crept up from his feet to his scalp. Someone was attempting to knock him unconscious through sheer malice. Xiaoji swiftly turned around and beheld a haggard, ghastly old woman. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes tattered. A broken arrow protruded from her chest. Even now, she glared at Xiaoji with unmistakable hostility. She floated closer and croaked hoarsely. Who are you? Why do you carry her scent? No, the scent of that thing. Her voice shifted from venomous hatred to greedy avarice. Xiaoji eyed her warily. This woman clearly meant no good. Gormlaith, what are you up to? Suddenly, a voice from behind Xiaoji interrupted her actions. Turning, he saw it was the Hufflepuff ghost, the Fat Friar. Gormlaith shot the Fat Friar a vicious glare before turning away. Oh, thank you. So you know who she is. That's the Weeping Widow from Kent. Her name is Gormlaith, though no one knows her surname. Xiaoji instantly realized who this ghost was. Gormlaith Gaunt, a descendant of Salazar Slytherin and former owner of his wand. She'd pursued Isolt, who'd stolen her wand, and just as she neared success, Isolt's friend shot her heart with a poisoned arrow. Now a ghost, the scent she mentioned must refer to Isolt's lingering aura on Slytherin's wand, the very wand Xiaoji currently carried. Xiaoji knew Gormlaith would inevitably seek him out. A subtle grin tugged at his lips. He seemed to have conceived another clever plan. After bidding farewell to the Fat Friar, Xiaoji returned to an unobtrusive corner. Cassandra scanned the crowd anxiously, searching for him. Upon spotting him, she visibly exhaled in relief. Leaving a young girl alone amidst a throng of ghosts was indeed rather irresponsible. Xiaoji prepared some apologies, only to notice something amiss. Alone? Where was Harry? Glancing around, he saw Nick guiding Harry along, introducing him to one ghost after another. Whoa, Cassandra. We've got to leave now. I've absolutely no desire to meet them all personally. Without waiting for her reply, Xiaoji grabbed her hand and dashed off. From afar, Harry watched, utterly dejected. Don't leave me alone. Take me with you? But Harry was swiftly engulfed by the excited ghosts. Meanwhile, Xiaoji and Cassandra safely returned to the Great Hall. The feast still raged on. Starving after going without food, Xiaoji eagerly joined the revelry. Before the mountain of delicacies, he promptly forgot all about poor Harry. Of course, Harry faced no real danger. Those ghosts merely wished to meet the legendary Harry Potter. They wouldn't harm him. Only late at night did Harry return to his dormitory, utterly dispirited. Even Ron's calls went unheard. After hours of being swarmed by ghosts, the poor lad had utterly exhausted himself. This is cruel. I merely chuckled once. Exhausted beyond measure, Harry collapsed into bed and fell asleep instantly. Not even his growling stomach could rouse him. At midnight, Xiaoji compiled all the ghost-related information gathered that night, then lay down to rest. Surprisingly, Tom absorbed souls at a slower rate than expected. Xiaoji had assumed one feeding per day would suffice. Yet, the more Tom benefited, the greater Xiaoji's control and influence over him, a distinct advantage. As drowsiness claimed him, Xiaoji noticed his ring growing warm. Huh. He raised his hand bearing the ring. A message flooded his mind. I'm scared. I can't sleep. It was from Cassandra. Though a young witch, she remained just a girl. Left alone amidst a crowd of ghosts for half an evening, it was no wonder she felt frightened. Apologies, I erred greatly. I shouldn't have brought you to the Shrieking Shadows feast, Xiaoji replied sincerely. No, I actually enjoyed it. This was the first time you included me in your adventures. Well, for a girl, attending a ghostly feast certainly resembled an adventure. There were so many ghosts. Even in the wizarding world, ghosts weren't uncommon, yet encountering so many at once was overwhelming. Even Xiaoji had been astonished at first. Besides, most ghosts retained their post-death appearances. Many had died horribly. For a mere 12-year-old girl, such gruesome specters bordered on restricted content. Yes, the term was gory violence. From now on, I'll always include you in my adventures. Really? Though please avoid ghost gatherings ever again. Without face-to-face interaction, Cassandra spoke far more candidly. Agreed, I promise. Now rest up. Staying up late harms young girls. But I'm scared. I can't sleep. Whenever I close my eyes, I see those ghosts' horrid forms, some with intestines spilling out, others missing half their heads. It's too terrifying. May I spend the night with you? Chapter 174, Cassandra Vol. Can I still stay over from now on? I, Xiaoji, have always been an honest, upright, and virtuous person, someone of impeccable character and integrity. There's absolutely no way I'd allow a little girl to spend the night in my dormitory in the middle of the night. Impossible. Utterly impossible. All right, I'll be right down to pick you up. With that, Xiaoji flipped up like a carp and then twisted midair like a hawk, leaping off his bed. The rules regarding Hogwarts boys' and girls' dormitories are utterly ridiculous. Boys are strictly forbidden from entering girls' dormitories, yet girls may freely enter those of the boys. Cassandra Vol wore pink pajamas adorned with cute fluffy patterns. As she stepped into Xiaoji's dormitory, her face turned slightly red. She truly wanted to turn around and flee, but recalling those horrifyingly disfigured ghosts she'd encountered that night, she immediately abandoned that idea. Though she had roommates, nowhere else, not even back in the village, did she ever feel as safe as she did beside Xiaoji. Since Xiaoji had no roommates, there was only one neatly made bed in his dormitory. There's only one bed here. What do we do? Xiaoji scratched his nose, puzzled. I'll sleep on that other bed. Cassandra pointed at the empty bed nearby, her face still flushed. I'll make it up for you. Xiaoji used fresh sheets and velvety blankets to create a soft, cozy bed beside his own. Good night. Blushing furiously, Cassandra climbed into the freshly made bed and promptly buried her head under the covers, leaving only a flash of golden hair visible. Truly, Xiaoji felt no bit of disappointment. Well, good night, he too lay down on his own bed. Yet that brief sense of letdown didn't last long. After all, they were just kids. What harm could they possibly cause? Besides, their physical maturity simply wouldn't allow it. Exhausted from the day, Xiaoji's mind gradually grew drowsy. Just as he was about to fall asleep. Are you asleep? Cassandra's soft voice reached him from nearby. Not yet. Are you still scared? I'm all right now. Then get some rest. Good night. Good night. Xiaoji turned over, and his mind once again slipped into drowsiness. Xiaoji, Cassandra spoke once more. What is it? And nothing much. Just call me if you need anything. Truthfully, Cassandra still felt a bit frightened. She'd hoped Xiaoji would keep talking to her, ideally soothing her to sleep, just as her mother used to do when she was little. Yet after much deliberation, she refrained from asking. She knew Xiaoji must be exhausted. It wouldn't be fair. Yet as Xiaoji's voice faded and darkness enveloped everything, fear crept back into her heart. Though she seemed strong-willed normally, fearing the dark is innate to most girls. Add to that the trauma she'd endured at the Halloween feast, and now she simply couldn't sleep from sheer terror. That fear slowly intensified with time, causing her body to tremble slightly. She had no choice but to pull the blanket tightly over her head. Cassandra, can't you sleep? I'm fine. I'm almost asleep now. Oh, how about I tell you a story? Yes, please. In that pitch-black darkness, Xiaoji's gentle voice seemed capable of dispelling all fears. I'll tell you a myth from ancient Eastern lands. I wonder if you'll like it. Tell it to me. I'll like anything. At that moment, Cassandra only wanted to hear Xiaoji's voice. Whatever he said wouldn't matter. A very, very long time ago, there was a stone, an ancient stone that had existed for eons. One day, it suddenly cracked open, and from within leapt a monkey. Thus, Xiaoji began recounting the tale of journey to the west. At first, Cassandra only cared about hearing Xiaoji's voice to chase away fear, but upon hearing the tale of the great sage, she became utterly captivated. In the quiet night, Xiaoji's soothing voice slowly narrated the story of the stone-born monkey. Gradually, Cassandra's fear faded. She lifted her head from beneath the blanket, her emerald green eyes gazing adoringly toward where Xiaoji lay. She herself had no idea when she fell asleep, but upon waking, she saw sunlight streaming right onto her bed. This was the first time in ages she'd seen sunlight. Since October, it had been nothing but endless rain and gloom. She sat up and noticed a small table now placed before her bed, bearing her favorite steamed buns and millet porridge. You're awake. Cassandra immediately spotted Xiaoji peeking halfway out from his suitcase. She flashed him a sweet smile. Thank you. I slept wonderfully last night. That's good. Today's a holiday. You could have slept longer. No one comes to my place. I locked the door. Xiaoji shrugged. Cassandra fell silent for a moment, then blushed deeply. Can I come to your place again tonight? Huh? That might not be appropriate. Xiaoji appeared rather flustered. I mean no harm by it. I just haven't heard the rest of the story you started last night. After a pause, she reiterated earnestly. I really want to hear how it ends. Chapter 175. Xiaoji, I'm absolutely not a creepy uncle seducing underage girls. Sure, if you'd like to come, you're welcome to do so anytime. Xiaoji flashed a radiant smile. At the sight of his smile, Cassandra Vole blushed furiously. I've already said it. Don't misunderstand me. I truly only wish to hear you finish that story you left unfinished. I'm not misunderstanding anything. You're absolutely free to come whenever you want. Xiaoji emerged from his suitcase. Earlier, he'd gone inside it to feed his chickens. After a long silence, Cassandra finally spoke up. Don't forget what you promised me last night. No matter where you go on your adventures, you must always bring me along. Is that really a good idea? What if you end up too scared to sleep afterward? I don't care. You promised me. Cassandra tossed a pillow at him. All right. Since you insist, we'll go out together tonight. Tonight? You're planning an adventure tonight? Yes. I need to explore the Forbidden Forest tonight. I require certain materials that only grow there. Xiaoji pulled out a piece of parchment and began studying it intently. What is that? Cassandra asked curiously. This is a potion recipe. Remember how you asked me to help make you stronger? I've found this ancient recipe. It boosts magical power with absolutely no side effects. Is that really possible? Cassandra was overjoyed. If she became stronger, the gap between her and Xiaoji would shrink significantly. She'd feel far better about herself, and at least on many occasions, she'd be able to assist him. The helplessness she felt, having to stand by helplessly whenever trouble arose, was deeply tormenting for someone as proud as Cassandra. Still, with such an unknown potion recipe, shouldn't we test it thoroughly first before using it? Cassandra hadn't let her excitement cloud her judgment. She remained quite rational. Of course this recipe's been tested before. If there were any serious side effects, there's no way I'd let you use it. To ease Cassandra's worries, Xiaoji lied. It was necessary. He certainly couldn't reveal anything about the system to her. I trust you, Cassandra nodded. She believed Xiaoji wouldn't harm her. If he claimed the potion was completely safe, then it must be so. Perhaps Cassandra was still young and somewhat naive, or perhaps Xiaoji naturally possessed a charm that effortlessly disarmed others' skepticism. She wholeheartedly trusted this boy before her. Truthfully, Xiaoji had no intention of harming Cassandra. He wasn't some mindless villain obsessed solely with casting Avada Kedavra, living a life where one had no family, no friends, no one who cared. That held no appeal whatsoever. Then tonight, let's adventure into the Forbidden Forest together, Cassandra declared resolutely. We'll set out at 9 o'clock, use the disillusionment charm to slip out of the common room, then exit the castle via secret passages. You know of secret passages too? Of course. George and Fred possess a map of Hogwarts. I've memorized it. Xiaoji spoke proudly. Seems you're quite experienced at this. Naturally. As a true Gryffindor, how could I possibly resist sneaking out at night? Xiaoji puffed out his chest proudly. So, have you gone out with others before? Of course, suddenly. Xiaoji sensed something was amiss. Were you with Hermione and the others? No, absolutely not. Don't say such things. I've only gone out at night with Fred and George. At the start of last term, they showed me the Hogwarts map and led me through several secret passages. Xiaoji hurriedly defended himself, offering explanations. Really? Cassandra eyed him skeptically. Of course it's true. Hermione places great importance on house points. She'd never agree to sneak out with me. From now on, you must always bring me along on such outings.
Deal.
No problem at all. Xiaoji gave an approving thumbs up. These days, protecting Cassandra posed no real difficulty for Xiaoji. Even when circumstances made it impractical to bring her along, he had countless ways to keep her completely unaware. He boldly agreed, hoping to earn some virtual flowers in return. May I see what materials are needed? My family's business deals extensively with herbs. Perhaps we already have them. Xiaoji handed the recipe to Cassandra. These are precisely the ingredients we still lack. I've already gathered all the rest. Cassandra skimmed the recipe quickly. It wasn't a complete recipe, as Xiaoji had mentioned. It only listed the missing components, so she harbored no suspicions. Even if presented with a full recipe, her current skill level in potion making wouldn't have revealed any flaws. Despite her natural talent, she was still quite young. Her expertise couldn't yet rival even a sixth-year Tom Riddle. These ingredients truly are hard to obtain. We definitely don't have them at home, though a few I might be able to arrange with my family. Cassandra spoke regretfully. Most ingredients stemmed from magical creatures, while the remaining herbs were equally rare and precious. Becoming stronger inevitably demands sacrifices. Yet I've got ways to procure all these materials, so there's no need to trouble your family. Cassandra nodded. She realized that if she asked her parents, her father would undoubtedly bombard her with questions. Explanations would be tedious. It was far better to handle this herself. Right now, Xiaoji was the very definition of a creepy, perverted uncle luring an underage girl down the wrong path. His actions seemed highly suspicious, yet Cassandra chose to believe him wholeheartedly. Afterward, she washed up in Xiaoji's suitcase, changed into fresh clothes, and enjoyed breakfast in his quarters. Only then did she quietly depart. Since girls could freely enter boys' dormitories, and given her close rapport with Xiaoji, no one paid her any mind as she left. Chapter 176. I don't want you to suffer any harm. Prototype combat golems. Halloween actually isn't a holiday, but coincidentally, today happened to be a weekend. To make this weekend night even more memorable, Xiaoji spent the day with Cassandra, helping her finish all her homework. Even Hermione was utterly astonished, since when had Xiaoji become so diligent about schoolwork? Wasn't he always the type to only start rushing through assignments on Sunday night? A genius like him actually putting in effort now? How is this fair? Hermione sighed. It seemed this year's top student title was once again out of reach for her. Xiaoji and Cassandra completed all their tasks early on, then retreated to the room of requirement. Xiaoji intended to teach Cassandra several protective spells. After all, tonight's mission to 043 involved the Forbidden Forest, which was quite dangerous. It would be terrible if he ever let his guard down, and besides, he had nothing better to do at the moment. Absolutely not, because it was fun teaching magic to a pretty girl. That would be far too cliched. Cassandra already knew the shield charm, yet this spell sometimes proved ineffective against certain powerful physical attacks. Thus, Xiaji taught her a protective spell he and Tom Riddle had developed together. Derived from the shield charm, this spell could defend against both magical spells and physical attacks, even offering some resistance against the killing curse. Of course, fully perfecting it still required further work from Xiaji and Tom. The incantation remains the same as the shield charm, but the flow of magic and hand gestures differ. Xiaji patiently guided Cassandra step by step. Virum. After numerous attempts, Cassandra finally conjured a delicate silver shield at her wand's tip. The shield orbited around her body, instantly shifting to wherever she directed it with her thoughts. Increasing magical output made the shield grow larger, though its defensive strength correspondingly diminished. Clang! Cassandra blocked one of Xiaji's disarming charms using her shield, only to see a faint crack appear on its surface. Excellent! You've mastered this spell, Xiaji nodded approvingly. Of course, he hadn't cast that disarming charm at full power. Yet it was the very spell capable of forcing Professor Flitwick to employ his teleportation technique, the same spell that shattered Flitwick's shield charm. Now, it merely left a crack on Cassandra's shield. That was truly impressive. Only a witch as gifted as Cassandra could learn this spell so swiftly. Had Harry or the others been in her place, Xiaji would have had to rely on his ultimate tools. Proudly puffing out her chest, Cassandra felt immensely proud of herself for grasping Xiaji's magic so quickly. Xiaji then handed her a small silver orb. Upon receiving it, Cassandra felt its icy chill. Though its purpose remained unclear, she sensed immense magical energy within. This is a prototype combat puppet I crafted via alchemy. It's already attuned to your magic. Just channel energy into it and toss it, and it'll transform to fight for you, Xiaji explained calmly. Go ahead, give it a try. Eagerly, Cassandra poured magical energy into the orb, which instantly warmed up and began glowing. Startled, she feared it might explode, so she promptly hurled it into the air. The orb rapidly expanded without exploding, instead twisting and reshaping midair. Roar! A massive, gleaming silver line materialized before Cassandra. Her eyes sparkled with delight. This was absolutely incredible. Attack! She pointed toward a target dummy, and the lion pounced, reducing it to splinters in moments. Return! Cassandra commanded, and the lion reverted to a silver orb, flying back into her grasp. This is miraculous. But could others seize control of it? If someone else took command, it'd be extremely dangerous. Glancing at the shattered target, Cassandra felt a flicker of unease. No worries. This is an alchemical creation. Control is granted solely to you. Without my permission, no one else can influence it. Thank you, Xiaji. I adore this gift, Cassandra replied sincerely. I simply don't want you to get hurt, Xiaji spoke softly. His points allocated to potions, alchemy, and similar subjects weren't random. He'd grown immensely powerful. Even Professor Dumbledore couldn't pose him any threat now. Adding points to dark magic or other offensive skills wouldn't change his invincibility. Yet alchemy and potions allowed him to do so much more for those around him. In his past life, he'd been profoundly lonely. This time, he refused to endure such isolation. He wanted his circle to always be lively and joyful. What Xiaji despised about Voldemort was his utter distrust of others, and thus, his inability to earn true loyalty. Even those loyal to him, like Bellatrix or Wormtail, were mentally unstable. None of that suited Xiaji. He wanted companions who could be as passionate as Death Eaters, yet retain the rationality of Order members. Chapter 177. Cassandra. Why has he still not let go of my hand? Cassandra had mastered the enhanced version of the shield charm taught to her by Xiaji, and she had also received a combat puppet as a gift from him. Thanks to this, her upcoming nighttime expedition into the Forbidden Forest would be far safer. What kind of materials are we looking for tonight in the Forbidden Forest? Cassandra asked. Our main targets tonight are acromantulas. I need their venom and fangs. Fortunately, there's an entire colony of them living in the forest. No need to search elsewhere, Xiaji recalled, thinking of the acromantulas Hagrid kept there. Perhaps because she was about to join Xiaji on this adventure, Cassandra appeared exceptionally excited at the moment. Sitting together on the sofa, Xiaji spoke to her. Since I've promised to fulfill your request, I'll definitely see it through. It won't take long before your magical power experiences a significant boost. That's why I believe you can now continue honing your magical abilities. I knew you'd definitely teach me. For once, Cassandra flashed a sweet, adorable smile. Ahem, Xiaji composed himself and continued. I've always felt your command over weather-related spells is quite impressive. So, you could start by focusing on those. Over recent times, I've improved several such spells. They're incredibly powerful, though they may also consume a fair amount of magical energy. You should master them first. Once your power grows, you'll be able to wield them freely. I'm confident that by then, you'll be able to assist me whenever necessary. You probably already sense that my future path may be rather eventful. Cassandra listened quietly. No matter where you go, I'll always be by your side. Suddenly realizing she'd just said something rather profound, Cassandra's cheeks instantly flushed red. She hurriedly tried to backtrack. Don't misunderstand me. I'm staying with you purely to grow stronger. Don't read too much into it. I see. Xiaji feigned a look of disappointment. Why, you really shouldn't get the wrong idea. All right. Observing Cassandra's bashful demeanor, Xiaji shook his head helplessly. I'll teach you those improved weather spells another time. Tonight, we've got important tasks ahead, so we mustn't exhaust our magical reserves. From then on, Cassandra continued practicing the enhanced shield charm, while Xiaji watched closely, offering occasional guidance. Time swiftly passed, and night gradually descended. After enjoying dinner together inside the room of requirement, the clock struck 9. The two then quietly slipped out of the room. Cassandra had specifically changed into a comfortable athletic outfit, opting against her usual skirts. Xiaji tapped his own body with his wand, then did the same to Cassandra's shoulder. Instantly, Cassandra felt her body enveloped by a cool, water-like magical veil. She then realized her body had vanished. Glancing up, she noticed Xiaji's body had disappeared as well. Unable to see either of them, she began to feel a bit frightened. Just as panic set in, she felt a warm hand gently grasp hers, and Xiaji's soothing voice reached her ears. Don't be afraid. Follow me. Though she couldn't see him, she knew her hand was firmly held by Xiaji. Suddenly, courage surged from deep within her, and all fear vanished. Invisibility cloaking them, the two moved silently along dimly lit corridors. Hand in hand, Cassandra felt a flurry of strange emotions. She even found herself wishing this hallway would stretch on endlessly so she could walk alongside Xiaji forever. Xiaji led Cassandra to a suit of armor situated near the second-floor staircase. Glancing around and confirming no one was present, he tapped the armor's helmet with his wand. Instantly, the armor came to life, clanking off its pedestal before standing motionless to one side. Holding Cassandra's hand, Xiaji pulled open the armor's base, revealing a dark, narrow tunnel. This secret passage led outside the castle grounds, though not beyond them, which was why George and Fred had never shown interest in it. For Xiaji, however, it was perfect. He intended to enter the Forbidden Forest, not sneak off to Hogsmeade. Gently guiding Cassandra, he led her into the tunnel's depths. As soon as they entered, the armor swiftly replaced its original position, sealing the entrance shut behind them. It then returned to its original stillness. Now safely hidden, they were secure. Filch remained completely unaware of this passage's existence. Xiaji dispelled their invisibility spells, then waved his wand lightly. A brilliant, floating orb of light rose above them, illuminating their surroundings. This was yet another spell Xiaji had improved, a luminous sphere that hovered perpetually above its caster, far more practical than the standard Lumos spell, which only glowed at the wand tip. At last, Cassandra could see Xiaozhi once more, yet she instinctively clung tightly to his hand. Xiaozhi figured the darkness of the tunnel had left her uneasy, so he paid it no mind. He simply continued walking forward, still holding her hand. Meanwhile, Cassandra's mind raced. Why hasn't he let go yet? If I let go first, will he even care? Well, since it's like this, I'll generously allow him to hold on. How kind of me. She completely failed to notice the truth. She herself had never released his hand. Chapter 178. No number of acromantulas can harm you. This secret passageway wasn't actually very long. They quickly reached its end. The exit happened to be right at the edge of the Forbidden Forest. This was precisely why Xiaozhi had chosen this route. Xiaozhi waved his wand, and the stones sealing the passageway automatically shifted aside. He then took Cassandra Vole with him as they stepped out. The stones promptly returned to their original positions. From the outside, there was no way to tell that this ordinary-looking rock was actually an entrance to a hidden passage. Xiaozhi glanced around carefully and saw no one in sight. Hagrid's hut stood not far from there. Lights were visible inside, so Hagrid was likely inside, not patrolling the forest. Xiaozhi gave Cassandra a nod, and both cast modified versions of a shield charm. Cassandra let out a breath of relief. Xiaozhi finally released her hand. Yet, for some reason, she felt a strange sense of disappointment. Xiaozhi determined their direction and took the lead. Cassandra followed closely behind, stepping carefully over uneven ground. She silently thanked herself for not wearing a dress. Walking through such terrain in one would have been downright inconvenient. Though darkness surrounded them, Cassandra could only see clearly within the radius illuminated by her Lumos spell. Everything else remained pitch black to her eyes. Yet Xiaozhi seemed completely unbothered by the pitch-black forest. In fact, he felt a surge of joy. No matter how dark it got, he never lost his way. He knew this was thanks to his druidic abilities. Utilizing those powers, he skillfully evaded other dangerous creatures lurking in the dark and successfully avoided both centaur camps and their patrol routes. Soon, they noticed a marked change in their surroundings. The lush greenery had vanished. This area exuded nothing but desolation. It felt as though no living creature dared to exist here. Xiaozhi knew they'd now entered the territory of the acromantulas. Here, absolutely nothing could survive except for them. Yet Xiaozhi felt no fear whatsoever. No matter how many acromantulas were present, none posed any threat to him. He could even wipe out an entire colony using various methods. Cassandra, however, began sensing an increasingly ominous atmosphere. It felt as though countless eyes were glaring at her malevolently from all sides. Panting heavily, she struggled to keep pace with Xiaozhi. She felt utterly miserable. Be careful. This is acromantula territory. They're apex predators. Almost no one survives an attack from them. Cassandra shot Xiaozhi a resentful glance. He knew she was terrified, yet still put her through this. But I'm an exception. With me around, no amount of acromantulas can harm us. Just as Cassandra began calming down, a series of rapid clack-clack sounds suddenly echoed through the darkness. They're here. Those are the sounds their fangs make when they tap against each other. They only produce such sounds when they're extremely excited. Why are they so excited? Cassandra nervously scanned the dark surroundings. She seemed to spot massive shapes darting through the trees. Oh, they usually get excited upon sensing fresh meat, Xiaozhi replied with a smile. Fresh meat? Are you referring to us? At that moment, Cassandra felt an overwhelming urge to kick him, then bite him fiercely. Suddenly, Xiaozhi grabbed Cassandra's hand and yanked her back. A spiky, furry leg impaled the ground exactly where she'd stood moments before. Watch out! They're attacking! Xiaozhi pulled Cassandra close and cast an obstruction charm, sending the acromantula that had leaped from a tree crashing away. It slammed hard into a trunk and fell back down, struggling to rise. Apparently 2 of its legs had broken in the impact. Only then did Cassandra fully see these terrifying predators. Each acromantula was as large as a carriage. Their bodies bristled with long black hairs, and they possessed 8 pitch-black eyes and 8 sharp, sturdy legs. Every single one also bore a pair of massive fangs. Undoubtedly terrified, Cassandra stood frozen. Though she wasn't easily frightened, she was still young and had never encountered creatures this massive or horrifying. Clack, clack. Glancing around, Cassandra realized they'd been completely surrounded. Trees and ground alike teemed with acromantulas, every single one roughly the size of a carriage. The one Xiaji had knocked down was actually one of the smaller ones. What do we do? Panic-stricken, Cassandra clung tightly to Xiaji's arm. Faced with so many attackers, they'd surely meet a gruesome end. Relax, I've got this. Xiaji patted her shoulder reassuringly. Raising his wand, he gracefully drew a circle in the air. A soft blue flame instantly encircled both of them. To Cassandra's astonishment, this blue flame felt utterly non-scalding. She even dared to touch it, and found it pleasantly cool. Chapter 179. You refuse? Do you even have the right to refuse? These peculiar blue flames, emitting a soft blue glow, burned quietly around Xiaji and Cassandra. Cassandra noticed that these flames failed to ignite even the surrounding trees or fallen leaves on the ground. Xiaji, Cassandra initially wanted to ask why these flames possessed no offensive power, but she feared that Xiaji might be using them to scare off the giant spiders. If she asked now, it might no longer have the desired effect. She had read in books that some of these giant spiders could understand human speech. Knowing these flames were harmless would surely rob them of any deterrent effect. At first, the spiders were startled upon seeing these flames, but their intelligence quickly kicked in. They realized these flames couldn't even set fire to trees. They reached the same conclusion as Cassandra. Xiaji was attempting to intimidate them using these seemingly fearsome flames. Having seen through Xiaji's bluff, the spiders immediately launched an assault toward him. Ah! They're coming! Cassandra cried in terror as the spiders rushed toward them. Don't worry. They can't harm us, Xiaji replied calmly. But your flames have absolutely no power. Cassandra fell silent mid-sentence, utterly stunned. She observed one spider touch those blue flames, only to instantly turn to ash, without even time to scream. Cassandra stood frozen, speechless from shock. Xiaji reached out, plucked a blue flame, and gently placed it into Cassandra's palm. Her face paled. The flame in her hand transformed into a beautiful flower of flame. Truly exquisite. These flames aren't powerless at all. This is fiendfire, Xiaji spoke softly beside her ear. Fiendfire? Cassandra stared in disbelief at the icy-cold flame flower in her hand. It's a refined version of fiendfire. It only consumes targets I desire. Xiaji lifted the flame flower gently. It floated away, landing perfectly on one of the spiders. Whoosh! In an instant, that spider was consumed by fiendfire. Cassandra no longer felt any fear. With fiendfire present, those spiders stood no chance of reaching them. Come, we've still a ways to go, Xiaji said with a smile, taking Cassandra's hand and walking forward. The blue flames encircling them followed their steps, moving onward. Apart from the relentless waves of attacking spiders, this ghostly blue fiendfire ignited nothing else. Clack, clack. Realizing the flame's true power, the spiders finally began retreating. Why not seize one now and collect its venom and fangs? Cassandra couldn't resist asking. With so many spiders around, capturing one would easily fulfill their goal tonight. The best is meant for you. I have no interest in ordinary spiders. I want venom and fangs from their king, Xiaji replied matter-of-factly. Hearing he wanted only the finest for her, Cassandra felt her heart swell with joy. Xiaji maintained fiendfire's protection throughout their journey. The spiders could only encircle them, helplessly watching as Xiaji steadily approached their lair. More and more spiders appeared, even launching several suicidal assaults. Yet not a single one managed to touch him. Fiendfire's power far exceeded any spider's physical defenses. Eventually, they ceased their futile attacks, seemingly receiving some command. They now stood silently around Xiaoji and Cassandra. Cassandra's hand remained tightly clasped in Xiaoji's. She noticed that the closer they got to the nest, the larger those spiders grew. She even saw several spiders as massive as Hagrid's hut, utterly terrifying. Yet Xiaoji remained unfazed, completely ignoring those monstrous creatures. To him, they seemed like mere insects. Soon, they reached a massive cave entrance, large enough for several giant spiders to enter freely.
Who are you?
Why seek to harm my offspring? A hoarse voice echoed from within. Xiaoji and Cassandra entered. Deep inside, a colossal spider rested there. Its body nearly matched Hagrid's hut in size, yet all 8 of its eyes were white. Only blind spiders had white eyes. You're mistaken, Aragog. It's your offspring attempting to kill us, Xiaoji replied calmly. You know me? Of course. I also know Hagrid. You're friends of Hagrid? Indeed. Even so, since you've come here, my children have every right to devour this fresh meat. True, and they've already tried. Yet though you crave fresh flesh, we won't stand idle. Any who seek to eat us must face death. Your flames are truly sinister. You have no right to speak of sinister, Aragog. Without these flames, we'd already be dead. Very well. What do you seek here? Your venom and your fangs. I'll give you venom, but never my fangs. I understand your reluctance, but you have no right to refuse. Xiaoji's tone turned icy. We share a mutual friend, Hagrid. Ha! When you allowed your young to devour us, where was this mutual friend then? And if I refuse, then I'll kill you all and take them myself. Xiaoji spoke as casually as discussing dinner plans. Think you alone can slay us all? Aragog roared furiously. You may try. With that, fiend fire surged wildly. A massive phoenix of fire spiraled into existence. The scorching heat filled Aragog with dread. This young wizard truly possessed the power to annihilate his entire species. Chapter 180, Cassandra Vole. Do you think I'm cruel? Aragog fell silent. A little venom wasn't much of a loss, but how could its fangs possibly be given away so casually? For an 8-eyed giant spider like Aragog, losing a single fang was equivalent to a human cutting off one of its own arms. Little wizard, though your flames are terrifying, I wonder how long you can maintain them? Oh, then you're welcome to give it a try, Xiaoji replied indifferently. Aragog refused to part with its fangs, so it decided to take a gamble. Those horrifying flames must be the result of some immensely powerful dark magic, which in turn required an enormous amount of magical energy to sustain. Clearly, this young wizard had already been employing this magic even before arriving here. No matter how skilled a young wizard might be, their magical reserves are inevitably limited. All Aragog had to do was exhaust those reserves. Admittedly, against any other wizard, this gamble would have heavily favored Aragog. Unfortunately, Xiaoji's magical power seemed virtually inexhaustible. The energy consumed by maintaining fiend fire paled in comparison to his own natural replenishment rate. For Aragog, this was essentially a guaranteed loss. Seems you've made your choice. Xiaoji glanced at the surrounding spiders, all eagerly poised to attack. I have many offspring. I wonder how long your magic can sustain this spell. Why do you assume I'd remain here passively defending myself? Xiaoji sighed. It's a pity, though. Hagrid will surely be heartbroken for a while. Huh. Countless 8-eyed spiders surged forward in a frenzy. Xiaoji stood motionless, while the countless spiders collided against the eerie blue flames, only to disintegrate into ash. Since you've chosen your path, I believe you won't regret it later. So, farewell, Aragog. Xiaoji took a deep breath and gently waved his wand, as if conducting an orchestra. Instantly, the fiend fire encircling him surged forth, transforming into a serpentine blue dragon that tore violently through the swarm. Simultaneously, the phoenix of fiend fire soaring overhead dove down, joining the slaughter. In mere moments, countless 8-eyed spiders vanished entirely. That dragon of flame seemed to autonomously track its targets. Every spider it encountered met instant death, while neither trees nor leaves nearby caught fire. All this demonstrated Xiaoji's unparalleled mastery over magical control.
Stop.
I'll hand over my fangs. Just cease this massacre of my kin. Aragog realized it had lost the gamble. Even if this wizard's power had limits, at this rate, it would take the lives of his entire species to exhaust it. This was utterly terrifying. Through all his years of existence, Aragog had never encountered a wizard so preposterously gifted. Stop, but you've already made your choice. You must pay the price for it, Xiaoji replied coolly. When it suits you, you're utterly ruthless, yet when things turn against you, you beg to be spared. Don't you find yourself rather naive? I've lost the gamble. I know death awaits me, but I implore you to spare my offspring, Aragog pleaded. It's too late, Aragog. Rest in peace. Hagrid will mourn you. No. Avada Kedavra. A verdant flash struck Aragog's body. It convulsed once, and then lay utterly still. Seeing their leader dead and Xiaoji's fiendfire still raging, the remaining spiders scattered in panic. None dared linger further, yet Xiaoji's flames pursued them relentlessly, a slaughter inevitable. Xiaoji himself felt no remorse. These spiders were hardly virtuous. In the original story, Aragog allowed his young to devour Harry and Ron, even aiding Death Eaters in their assault on Hogwarts during the final battle. They were an untamable species. Hagrid mistakenly believed he'd tamed Aragog, but their bond was more akin to friendship. Aragog could command other spiders not to harm his friend Hagrid, yet he showed zero care toward anyone else, even fellow friends of Hagrid. Thus, Xiaoji cared little for their survival. Moreover, their unchecked proliferation severely threatened other forest creatures' habitats. Given their reproductive rate and brutality, soon no creature in the forest would stand a chance against them. Eventually, they'd inevitably turn their sights toward the castle and beyond. One single spider wandering into the Muggle world would spell disaster. Xiaoji raised his hand. An exact replica of himself appeared nearby. Xiaoji nodded at him, then waved his wand to chase down the remaining spiders. This was the Xiaoji conjured from homunculus tears. The rest was now in its hands. Slowly, Xiaoji approached Aragog's corpse, now completely lifeless. After carefully extracting its venom and fangs, he set the body ablaze. Turning back, he saw Cassandra Vole standing close behind him. "Do you think I'm cruel?" he suddenly asked. "Cruel? Are you referring to killing those monsters that nearly flayed us alive?" Xiaoji smiled. "Exactly. Everyone must bear the consequences of their choices. They could have been friends with us, yet they chose to treat us as prey. They deserve what they get." Moments later, the homunculus Xiaoji returned, dissolving back into a glowing orb within his palm. No matter how many spiders there were, even under relentless fiendfire pursuit, some managed to flee to the outer edges. It was inevitable, with thousands upon thousands scattering in all directions. Even Xiaoji couldn't exterminate them all. Still, for a long time to come, these survivors wouldn't pose any real threat. Xiaoji extinguished his flames. Darkness reclaimed the cavern. Where countless spiders once crowded, now only emptiness remained. Regardless, tonight's mission is complete. Let's leave now. Cassandra nodded, then paused silently before speaking. "Actually, had I not been here tonight, would you have already obtained the venom and fangs?" "Not really. Even alone, I'd have achieved similar results," Xiaoji replied with a smile.
A lie.
Had he come alone, he'd have used invisibility to fly straight to Aragog's lair, then employed Imperio to coerce it into willingly surrendering its fangs and venom, all in under 5 minutes. No need for tonight's bloody slaughter. But since Cassandra asked, he couldn't possibly reveal this truth. No reason needed, it's all about emotional intelligence. Xiaoji prepared to depart with her. Tonight had already taken too much time. They should return promptly. Suddenly, Cassandra spoke up. "Xiaoji, look, over there. Seems to be a cave."